Welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. My name is Michael LeBlanc, and I am your host. This podcast is produced in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. Meet Selwyn Crittendon, IKEA Canada's new dynamic and engaging CEO and Chief Sustainability Officer. Selwyn shares highlights of his 20-year journey at IKEA, first impressions of the business environment, and ambitions for growth and diversification for this purpose-led retail brand in Canada for 47 of its 80 years for this global home furnishing and lifestyle powerhouse. Let's listen in now. Selwyn, welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
Michael, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. A wonder to even speak to your viewers and your listeners. So thank you very much for having me.
Well, it is my pleasure. Where am I finding you today?
Oh, my friend, I am in the GTA. I'm here in our service office in our Burlington store, coming live from IKEA.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you sound great. So I'm really looking forward to this. IKEA is a favorite retail, and both from I'm a shopper, but also just as a professional observer of great retailers. So I'm excited to hear about your story. So let's start there. Tell folks and listeners about yourself, your personal, professional journey. You're a long, 20 plus years you grew up, it looks like, in the IKEA business. So tell us about yourself and what you do for a living.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so for me, my time at IKEA, I don't think it's long. As actually for me, it's amazing. It's been 22 years of it just working with this incredible company. I'm so proud to have worked in many different areas of the business. But more importantly, I have so many lifelong connections to so many IKEA coworkers around the world. So for me, my journey started off in IKEA US in the IKEA Woodbridge store. So this is south of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia. There, I started my role as a customer convenience manager and primarily worked in the customer service side of the world. I then had an opportunity to go to Florida. I opened the IKEA Orlando store, starting with customer experience again, but really getting into other areas of IKEA, operations, sales, had an opportunity to be the deputy store manager. And then I had a great opportunity to open the IKEA Miami store as the store manager. And here's where the best pieces of working with IKEA come to life. You not only support your coworkers, your wonderful coworkers, but you really start to be a part of the community and take your responsibility as a store manager to really connect IKEA to the community. From there, I went to our U.S. customer, let's say the central hub of the service office, our headquarters of the U.S. in Philadelphia. And there I took on roles as customer experience manager, area manager, and then my most recent role as business development and transformation manager. So lots of things moving. I'm a highly energetic person, very positive, but more importantly, I have arrived to Canada. It has been 2 exciting, great months arriving here in Canada, and I'm now the CEO and Chief Sustainability Officer for IKEA Canada.
Fantastic.
But more importantly, I am here to support the many IKEA Canadian superfans and coworkers that really want to make a better everyday life for many more people.
Sometimes retail has been described as the accidental career. Was it an accident that you found yourself at IKEA in retail, or did you always have a passion for retail? Talk about your early start in business.
I love it. I think for me, from the earliest days, I've always had a passion for people. So more importantly, it doesn't really matter the industry. I just really gravitated to having an opportunity to make impact for people. So for me, if it was working in other companies or other industries like the food industry, or really most of my career has been in retail, it's really making impact. So how can I make impact? And then having an opportunity to help others see their pathway forward. So development and innovation, these things that really make me curious, hungry. I think working with IKEA has given me all of that. I can actually tell you that IKEA has given me the opportunity to raise a wonderful family together as well, too. So I have a wife and 2 kids. We are super IKEA fans. We're so happy to be here in Canada. We're enjoying it. So I will tell you, this is the best place to be.
We'd be hard-pressed to find any listeners who don't know of IKEA, but as I often find, they may not know a couple of things about it. So first of all, if you could do 2 things. One is a little bit of the scope and scale in Canada, because, these organizations like yourselves are always growing and moving. And so how many stores and how many people under your care, duty of care, so to speak. And then what a lot of people don't know, and I got this I had the opportunity to interview Wim Blau from the international group, and I didn't understand that you're a franchise organization. I don't think many people, I didn't even know that, and I've been in the industry a long time. So first of all, a little bit more about IKEA Canada, and then just talk about your structure for a bit.
So IKEA Canada, this is amazing. We have 15 stores, 18 design studios, 16 collection points. We have one distribution center, Born-Harnois, that we're going to celebrate. We have 4 customer distribution centers, really getting our goods closer to many Canadians across the country. And then we have some wonderful partnerships with Penguin Pickup. We have 13 pickup locations. But I think some things that people don't understand is we also have 2 wind farms here in Canada that we want to celebrate. So I know IKEA Canada, we've got a diverse range of business that we support. We also have our what we call our remote customer meeting point that take care of our customers that shop with us online or want to chat with us. So we have a few different areas of the business that we operate here in IKEA Canada.
And
now,
talk about this franchise bit, the Inca relationship, and how it is structured, and is Canada part of that? Or talk about that for a bit.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, IKEA totality, we are all umbrellaed under one vision. And that vision is always to create an everyday better life for many people. And IKEA Canada is a part of this as we umbrella up into what we call the Inca organization.
Yep.
So Inca is one of about a dozen franchisees that we have under the IKEA umbrella, and we all roll up into Enter IKEA. So I know it's a lot of IKEAs that you're hearing right now, but more importantly, we're a part of a big franchise system. Enter IKEA owns our concept. They're the worldwide IKEA franchisor. And then we're responsible for bringing the range to life under the Inca umbrella. So it works really well. And even though they're different franchisees, we are super connected. This is one IKEA. We're able to talk and work and have dialogues with our colleagues and other franchise. We share ideas. We're all here gathered by our vision that our founder, Ingvar Kamprad, has put this together so proudly, celebrating 80 years. So it might be a little technical.
Yeah.
We're just one franchisee in about a dozen franchises underneath the Inca umbrella. But I will tell you, IKEA in general is here for the many consumers across the world.
Yeah, you sure don't feel it as a shopper or customer. And as I said, I've been in the industry for 25 years. I didn't even know it until this year. So, as you said, it's an operating thing more than it is anything else. Let's change gears a little bit. I want to talk about your role. You mentioned you got a couple of wind farms. Your role as CEO and CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer. Now, I know your predecessor had the same role and title. Now, is this a common thing in IKEA? And talk about how you balance these two. We just, Retail Council of Canada just had a big sustainability conference, and I was interviewing some leaders and struck by how how they lead the culture in the organization. But once you get down below that, it's a big file, right? There's a lot going on in sustainability. So A, is this common? And B, how do you balance those two very meaningful responsibilities?
I love the question. I think this is probably the best reason to work with IKEA, because not only do you talk about what we can do for business, we can do for people, but more importantly, what we're going to do for our planet. So yes, I have both responsibilities after looking after the retail, but also the sustainability piece of the job. And it is common. So we take responsibility very, very serious. So it starts at all levels of our organization, from our CEO with Jesper and Inca to every country manager has this responsibility. But even though it's a big topic, we share this responsibility with the many unit managers. So every market manager, unit manager, we have an organization that supports sustainability with us. And we really look at this as our way to do business, smart business, by being a good business, as we like to call it. So we're strategic. And we have 3 pillars that we want to go after with sustainability. We talk about healthy and sustainable living. We are really committed to our 2030 vision of being the best place for people to understand people and planet. Our ambition is to inspire, enable more than 1 billion people to live an everyday better life within the boundaries of our planet. You're going to hear a lot about us when we talk about circular and climate positive. We're transforming into a circular business. We're becoming more climate positive. We have regenerating resources while we're growing our business. And again, by 2030, we have an ambition to be a climate positive retailer and reduce more greenhouse gases than we emit. We're going to talk a lot about our solar panels. We'll talk about our wind farms here. Fair and equal. So providing decent and meaningful work across IKEA value chain so that we're creating a positive social impact while being an inclusive business that promotes equality. So again, my tie about really being with companies that are purpose-led. I love the fact that we're looking after people. This is my little passion here. And we do a lot here. We have a lot of our units that are really tied to the community. So I've been going across the country, seeing how we really exhibit, how we really want to be community leaders. We have great partnerships. We're talking about focus on renewable and recyclable goods, materials. We're eliminating waste. We're invested in renewable energy sources, including our solar panels. And more than half of our stores, we own 2 wind farms in Alberta. Combined, we generate renewable energy equivalent to 4 times the amount that we consume. So we actually believe that we're doing good business in Canada and giving back. And I cannot not talk about what we're doing with our sale back program. So for IKEA lovers, if you have those well-loved IKEA goods, you're able to actually bring them back. We can buy them back from you and give them a second chance for another loving IKEA fan. These are things that we do, really supporting our environment and making sure that we keep our goods out of the landfill. So for us, it's not just about talk. It's about walking the talk here at IKEA.
When I think of IKEA as a culture, I think of pragmatism meets creativity sometimes. I'm recording this on a IKEA desk. All my furniture, actually, as I look around.
Very good. Very good.
But a very pragmatic organization. I think that's based in your DNA. And of course, that comes out of the founders who are very pragmatic when they began it. And it always strikes me that as you move these pragmatic goalposts, and you strive towards them. I mean, you use a term that I hear quite often is the ambition to do things, but it seems like it's more than just ambition for you guys. But I think you align to an ambition because there's a lot of moving parts globally, right? So you set a big goal, 2030, you say it's our ambition, but really you're making meaningful steps and strides toward it, right? Is that part of how you think about, the difference between ambition and reality?
I love it. I think it's a great question because I think you always have to dream. There always have to be the dream of where you want to be. And then every day is chipping away. How do you get there? So when we make bold statements like, by 2025, our goal is to have 100% of our home deliveries across Canada to be made by EV or zero emission transportation, we live that. Now we have the partnerships with Bolt. We're working on developing our EV network across the country. We really mean it. So for us, we'll paint that ambition, but we're measuring ourselves. It's a part of our goals all the way down to our coworker level. So we take these meaningful steps. We measure how much waste from a food perspective to our products. We're measuring everything that we do to live up, not only to hit the dream, but if we commit to something, we put it in writing, we're going to deliver it. That's our commitment.
Let's talk about the business beyond the big blue box, so to speak. A recent announcement from the organization for a huge investment in the U.S. What was it, $2.2 billion? I'm sure some of that floats up north here. What role does a market like Canada play in absorbing that kind of global innovation, both as in format and also in go-to-market strategies? You mentioned you've got different design centers, and really it's interesting to me, the idea beyond the blue box. Many retailers, I think, struggle with smaller formats of their main concept because it to consumers it's like, I don't know what to find there. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I think it's been a struggle. You guys, I think, are achieving and doing a better job than many, if not all. So talk about that and your perspective around that.
Being a part of a global organization with IKEA, what you've referred back to is a big initiative that's happening here in North America. So we are absolutely a part of that investment that IKEA is making to make life more affordable, accessible, and sustainable for many more consumers. So yes, IKEA Canada is absolutely a part of that. You will absolutely see where we're digging deep into understanding life at home, bringing more relevant products from a North American perspective to our units here in North America. But more importantly, how do we become more accessible? And I think IKEA Canada has been a leader really looking at the omnichannel journey. So many of the units that you visit today, you don't understand that they're actually fulfilling so many of our orders today. I mean, we were visiting the units over the past month, and the amount of coworkers that have so much enthusiasm of getting our goods closer to our consumers, whether they be click and collect orders that you can order online and pick up in our stores or have them delivered, our units are playing a big piece of that. So we have distribution centers, we have our stores, but then with the smaller formats, we're able to really get into the areas of the country where a big blue box just doesn't fit. We can't always be in the middle of the city center with a big blue box.
Yep.
But we have really utilized, for example, we have our downtown Toronto, what we call as Toto, really going after the consumers that really want to still be inspired by all of the wonderful room sets and products and services that we have to offer, but we can bring it in a smaller format. And then what we do is we learn. So we learn from our consumers that you want more food, you want more plant balls, you want more veggie dogs. And we took that learning and we rolled it into Scarborough. So what you visit in IKEA Scarborough Town Center is the best of best. We heard you. Now we're developing. Now we can bring a curated range to you. We still have the extended aisle, so you can still buy, collect, and get those goods that you really want on site, but we're bringing you more delicious, sustainable food. And then in areas where we want to go after really, say, customers that are too far away, we can use our pickup points. We can use our plan and order points that really showcase some of the beautiful designs that we can do and more of the complex systems, like we like to call it. Kitchens, bath, closet. Right. We can really get closer to you and we can help you plan. But we've learned, even though you can come see this range, you want to break it up. You want to take it away. So we're developing more ways to make sure that we can have more of a range more accessible to you in a quicker fashion. And where you don't need to take home that large sofa, we can make sure that the delivery is right there for you super quick.
So you didn't venture too far coming up here to Canada, but living here and operating here is different than seeing us as a neighbor. What are your observations about the Canadian consumers and the retail market here in Canada 2 months in?
What I can tell you, and I just want to thank every person that has touched me and my family on this journey in the last 2 months, hands down. The richness, the cultures, the diversity has been amazing. I think for me, the biggest difference that I'm seeing thus far is the care for one another and the care for the many people. There is no one here that has turned their back to me, couldn't support me when I needed help, understanding different ways of working. Everyone has been super kind to me and my family and welcomed me here to Canada. And that is what I'm seeing across the board. And I set out on this mission to visit all of our units. That is my mission. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, I am going to accomplish visiting every unit across Canada. And what I've seen really starting here in the GTA or the Greater Toronto area, this is a fast-paced, growing metropolitan area, a place where I proudly call home now. It's a major area of diversity and growth. We have amazing coworkers supporting many of our retail and fulfillment units to some of our amazing partners like TashRabbit and Penguin Pickup. We have so much to offer in the GTA. I have 4 units that I haven't visited yet, but I have to thank IKEA Burlington, Vaughan, Etobicoke, our Extra Strong store in IKEA Scarborough, our CDC in Kleinburg. I really have to thank them for welcoming me to Canada. We've been able to go to Quebec. Yeah. We just wrapped up our tour of the stores in the Quebec province area. So we have Quebec City, Boucherville. We have a jaw-dropping plan and order point in Broussard. You have to go see it. We have our IKEA Canada Store of the Year. I'm so proud to say this in IKEA Montreal. Yeah. We have our world-class remote customer meeting point where we support sales and after-sales service. And then, of course, we celebrated the grand opening of our fulfillment unit in IKEA Beauharnois. We have so many proud people here in the Quebec area that they're super proud of their heritage and their way of life. I got to visit some great areas like the old city of Montreal, St. Catherine Street. I was walking up and down, enjoying it. Quebec City. I'm a foodie, so I have to taste a little bit of what many people say is the best food in Canada. So I can't wait to come back and see the amazing area for the holidays and the winter months. I've been able to travel to Manitoba, Alberta. So we have stores here in Winnipeg, Calgary, and Edmonton. And I will tell you, what I'm seeing here is that people are super focused and passionate about their communities that they serve. I got to see some of the most picturesque views of Canada traveling through this area. So many memorable moments from this trip, but overall, the connection to our Indigenous peoples and the many communities that we serve. To our IKEA fans in Thunder Bay, I want to give you a little insight. IKEA is coming closer to you with our newest non-branded pickup point, and we're fulfilling those goods from IKEA Winnipeg store coming to you November 1st. So that's just a latest insight there. But I also had a really big honor of while we were in IKEA Calgary, I was awarded a white hat in IKEA Calgary, making me now an honorary Calgarian. So that was super, super cool. Super cool.
Fantastic.
And then the trip didn't finish.
Yeah.
I had to go all the way up to IKEA Halifax. And I've seen many stores across the world. But I will tell you, IKEA Canada has the most beautiful physical location in the IKEA world with IKEA Halifax.
That is nice.
From the way we celebrate the commitment to our community, to the caring for our people and planet, and our only LEED Gold certified store here in Canada, I need more time to visit all the areas that we weren't able to see, but I need to see more of our IKEA fans. I can't wait to meet you all. And then yesterday, I just got back from our capital city of Ottawa and our amazing team leading the way. Again, another true commitment to honoring the many Indigenous peoples that we have come before us, but to the many examples how this team supports their local community and partnerships. One of the best examples of us when we talk about omnichannel investment, this store is fulfilling more orders, more click orders than any other store in North America. It's fantastic to see what this team is doing. So for me, I've got a few more stores to go. I've got to hit now the British Columbia side and finish up the GTA, but I cannot wait to meet my coworkers and my consumers that are out there. Thank you for welcoming me to the country.
You know, just a quick follow-on on that. You know, when I'm asked to explain Canada and the Canadian retail industry to my American counterparts, I often start with talking about the diseconomy of scale in this country. Like we're a vast physical nation, but there's almost nobody here, relative, and just as an operator, you're a veteran operator. Have you experienced that? And when you talk to the team about that, there's 40 million people here, but we're a nation the size we are. We're a vast nation. What role does that play in your thinking? And just learning, as I said, it's one thing to just, to know Canada. It's another thing to operate here, right? Like you're doing.
Absolutely. I think this is where I have some similarities coming from the U.S. market because, again, another country that is a very large span from east to west. Now, there's a lot of population density across the U.S., and we have a lot of population density closer to the U.S. border here in Canada. But what I love, though, is the passion behind what we do. And I think there are many times where we are not being able to serve our customers in the best ways because we believe distance is a barrier, but we're finding the unique ways to do this now. The pickup points and utilizing our stores for fulfillment, we've been able to crack some of these codes. I actually think IKEA Canada is one of the leading countries in IKEA trying to solve these impossible problems today. So I'm super proud about the way we have started to fulfill orders. There's more to do. We really need to think about what happens when goods need to come back in the reverse flow as well, too, an area that I'm super passionate about. But more importantly, I think really some of the similarities between the U.S. and Canada is that you have to service customers coast to coast. We have many time zones. So the way you service your customer, the way you follow up with after-sales services, being able to ensure that any customer on the West Coast or the East Coast gets the same level of service is still super important. But for me, it's always been the richness and the diversity of the many people that I have seen here in Canada. So for me, I'm loving it, but there's more work to do. It's not an area where I said we are checking the box. There's so much more that we can do. And I think here, this is where we can come together as retailers and partner together. How do we take some of these challenges on together because it's good business for us all.
For my last question, kind of a similar related question. You've had, by all measures, a stellar career at IKEA. As I said, was 20 plus years, as you articulated. Now, a bit of advice, perhaps, for the younger listeners who aspire to leadership roles in retail, perhaps with IKEA or just in the industry itself. And let me frame this in a 2 starts and 1 stop. 2 things they should start thinking about, and 1 thing that, through your experience, or maybe things have changed, that they should do less of. Like, what would be your advice to the listeners?
I think this is a great question. I think it brings me back to the purpose of why I lead. It's really to start thinking about how we can develop the next generation of future leaders. So I love the question. If I were to quickly give you my 2 starts and 1 stop, I think the very first one is what most people that I've worked with here in IKEA would know me as. I'm always going to ask this question: where do you ultimately want to be? And know that your journey is not going to be a straight line. There are going to be twists, turns, bumps, and hurdles all along the way. So for me, the clue here, focus on developing new skills today in the role that you're already in, and start to embody where you want to be in the future. So basically, you're practicing for the role along the way. You're developing new skills, you're upskilling. And by the time that position is ready for you, you've been tested, you've been tried, and you're ready to go. So for me, know that your journey is not going to be a straight line, and start today where you want to be. The second one is really, you got to believe in yourself and the ability to take on the impossible problems that many say can't happen, and you find a way to turn them into successes. You have to have that belief in yourself that you can do it, and you really empower yourself to find new ways, challenge yourself. This is where the innovation, this is where the curiosity comes in. Now, if there's one stop that I'm going to really ask your listeners to hear me on, is to do this. Do not wait for anyone to tap you on your shoulder to go. You have to blaze your own path. You have to lever mentorships, whether it's inside or outside your organizations. There are so many people here in this world that will support people, to talk to them, to listen to them. So leverage these mentorships, but you cannot wait for someone to tap you on that shoulder to open that door. Sometimes you got to blaze your own path or open that door for yourself. So that's my 1 stop there.
If folks want to get in touch, are you a LinkedIn person, or where should they go to get in touch and learn more about what you're up to, or even what IKEA Canada is up to?
Please. Okay, so many ways to find me. You can start with LinkedIn. You can find me there. But more importantly, you can find IKEA Canada at IKEA CA. You have to download the IKEA app. That's my first responsibility, to make sure that you all know, because that app will give you insight to the many things that we're doing. IKEA family members always have the best insight of what's happening at IKEA, so make sure you're an IKEA family member, and it will unlock the many treasures that we have, like IKEA Creative, where you can design your space at home with 3D modeling. You can really make sure that if you're in the stores, did you know you can self-checkout with our app? It's called Scan and Go. You can do that, save your time at the checkouts. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of tidbits. So look for us on Instagram, look for us on Facebook. We are here for you. But more importantly, come visit your local IKEA store. Come visit us. Come see all the wonderful news that we have available. We've got great collections celebrating IKEA Canadian designers. We've got collections focused on Diwali, what we call our asthmatic collection. And we have so many wonderful new products. So I'm in the stores. Come see me. Come see your favorite coworkers. Come see what IKEA is brewing up for you here in IKEA Canada. And I cannot wait to meet everyone.
Well, Selwyn, such a great conversation. Thanks so much for taking time out of your incredibly busy day to share with us a little bit about yourself. Welcome to Canada. I mean, it's a great organization. I think you stand on tall shoulders. That's for sure. It's a great organization, a real leader role in the Canadian market and global market. But for now, I wish you much continued success as you continue to explore Canada and your role. And once again, thanks for joining me on the Voice of Retail podcast.
Michael, thank you very much. And to your listeners, I appreciate you. See you at IKEA soon.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Voice of Retail. If you haven't already, follow on your favorite podcast platform so new episodes will land automatically each week. And be sure and check out my other retail industry media properties, the Remarkable Retail Podcast with Steve Dennis and the Global E-Commerce Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc, Senior Retail Advisor, Keynote Speaker, Rethink Retail 2023 Global Top Retail Influencer. If you want more content or to chat, follow me on LinkedIn. Safe travels, everyone.